Hey, Seb.
Is
Wondering your take on the move to New England, uh, rejoining Bruce,
yeah.
and in what ways does it affect your national team or affect you in terms of going to the national team?
Well, first and foremost, I'm super excited about the move. I think it's come at a good time, and I had a lot to do with the decision. So it wasn't something that was just kind of thrown at me. Um, and yeah, I think just the way things have kind of the year went, and among other things, I think it was just the right time. And so I'm super excited. Definitely had a good run with Bruce until he left the Galaxy, and then. Now being reunited, it's very exciting. And obviously everybody knows, and he's proven it time and time and again how good of a manager he can be, and he's so hopefully it's a lot of the same.
Again, if you'd like to ask a question of Sebastian, you can virtually raise your hand. We'll move on to Sam Stejskal from The Athletic.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you, Sebastian, for taking the time. Hope you're doing well. I asked this to Aaron, but I'll ask a version of it to you as well. The last time you guys went up to Canada, as you will later on in this month, it was a difficult result in a difficult kind of period for you guys, coming off of the Gold Cup and another loss in a friendly to Mexico. I don't think you got in the game, but you were on the bench for that match. I'm curious what you remember from watching from the sidelines from that game, and how you kind of would characterize the response since then, and any tactical changes, mentality changes. It seems like that may have been something of a turning point for this team, kind of generally speaking.
Yeah, no, I think looking back at that game, it was definitely a turning point for all the individuals that were there and as a team. And I think the message from that point on was intensity is the starting point. Because we took a lot of pride in how we wanted to play and how we wanted to do things attacking wise, and we had all the structure all down. But I think the mentality we I think that's where we were lacking on that day, and I think Canada sort of opened up our eyes to that, and I think from that moment on, that was the turning point. And so, ever since then, and again, we obviously weren't aware of they've come a long way as a team as well. It's not the same Canada. They're a good team. We respect them. We obviously know what we can do against them, which we hope we can do in the game coming up. But yeah, it was definitely a turning point for us, for this group.
Next will be Ron Blum from the Associated Press.
Hey, Seb, thanks for doing this.
Hey.
As you look ahead to the upcoming qualifiers, what do you see as the challenges of playing a game that might be in 0 or 5 degree weather?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I think it's been a long time since I've had to do that, to be honest. So it should be interesting. Obviously, it's going to make the opponent very uncomfortable. We have guys that are obviously playing in that weather or a little bit more used to it, so it could be advantageous. But I think it's going to be a fair game, man. I mean, it's going to be interesting, but we'll see. We'll just have to get through it. We have the mentality, we have the character in this team to get through anything, and we've proven that. So
is it hard to dribble or control the ball or create when it gets that cold?
That's a good, yeah. I mean, I think it'll probably play a part. We'll see how warm our players can get. There's only so much clothing can do. There's only so much clothing you can put on. You can't put on anything over the jersey. So we'll see how we'll have to layer. But it's a good question. We'll definitely find out.
I think what Ron is saying is welcome to New England.
That's true. That's I knew you were getting to that. Oh, that's funny.
Next will be Jose Rodriguez.
Okay.
Thank you. Hola, Sebastián.
Hola, José.
Quisiera preguntarte un poco por lo apretado que está la eliminatoria. ¿Consideras que este puede ser un ciclo que se puede definir en la última jornada?
Sí, es una ventana de partidos que van a ser difíciles, pero tenemos una oportunidad de calificar en estos 3 partidos. Pero a la misma vez tenemos que enfocarnos en el primer partido. Entonces, más que eso no estamos pensando en el primero y después ojalá ese va bien y después el segundo y el tercero. Entonces no podemos saltar y eso es la mentalidad del grupo hasta ahora.
Next, we'll go to Richard Taylor.
Hola, no estoy seguro si debería hablar en español o inglés.
Oh, whatever you want. I mean, I'm not the best either.
All right, sounds good. My question is a little bit off
Yeah.
the technical thing. You know, everybody likes to ask all the technical questions, but mine is a little bit more personal.
Okay.
When you're on the field, you know, you get a feel. You've played with a lot of players, and you know that coach switches in, switches out the recipe.
Right.
Who do you feel that you gel with the best? If you got to make the recipe, you know, it's like, I want that person on my right or on my left or whatever.
It's a tough one. We're kind of spoiled for choice here, to be honest. We have such a talented group. So to be very brutally honest, like it is hard to put, to choose one over the other. We have such good players. I mean, in this system, usually play on like the left side of the attacking midfield, and having Serginho or having Christian Pulisic or having Brendan Aronson on that side, definitely spoiled for choice there. It's such a talented group of players, so. It's a hard one to just choose just a couple,
Next will be Charlie Bone from MLSsoccer.com.
Hey Sebastian, thanks for your time today.
Hey.
I'm sure this has been a topic on some level. The challenge for MLS guys playing these midwinter qualifiers that are kind of an exception to the normal schedule.
Right.
How do you approach it? What has been the conversations within the group, in this camp, about kind of where you guys will stand relative to European-based players who are coming in off matches and in a kind of a different rhythm than you guys, and how do you think Greg approaches that?
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting one. The schedule isn't technically in our favor, but I think thankfully we have sort of this time to regroup, at least with a short amount of guys, to for fitness levels and just to get back in the hang of things. So we do have this time to kind of catch up to speed to the guys who are already kind of playing in season, and it's unfortunate that the schedule just doesn't line up with the same as Europe, but. It's just another obstacle that we kind of us as the domesticated guys we just got to deal with, and I think as long as we do our part, training wise and working hard on our fitness, I think it shouldn't be too much of a problem. We've done a really good job in the last week. It's been a strong effort from the group. So and we have another week. Before the European-based guys will regroup with them, so hopefully we're not too far off it.
Next will be Brian Sciaretta for American Soccer Now.
Thank you, Michael. Just to build a little bit off of what Charles said, Charles asked in your answer, how sharp has the group been down there, particularly based on off-season, and how do you feel in terms of your sharpness? And then also, can you speak to how Aaron Long has looked, particularly speaking on the topic of rust, because it's been so long since he's played and he's in the middle of an injury comeback while he's doing this camp? Thank you.
Yeah, to be very honest, the group has been, I think, surprisingly, sharper than expected. Thankfully we have such a good staff, and they keep track of our numbers. It's so organized here, so they make our jobs as easy as possible, to keep track of. And I think none of the guys came, obviously we can be fitter and we're going to get fit, but I think everybody's had started off from a good starting point. And as far as Aaron goes, I'm super happy for him, man. I mean, he's doing really well. Obviously they're taking care of his minutes and tracking his progression, but he's doing very well, and he's obviously a big part of this group, on and off the field, and so I hope it continues like that.
I'd also encourage everyone to listen to Greg's comments from Monday in regards to the progression from the December camp to the January camp, to speak to where this group is in terms of fitness and preparation. And if you need it, feel free to reach out. The last question for Sebastian goes to Jesus Quinones.
Okay. Jesús.
Sebastián, ¿qué tal, Sebastián?
Hola.
Si nos puedes hablar un poquito de los entrenamientos esos en Phoenix, cómo ha sido esa preparación allá y ver a tus compañeros acá con el Revolution, empezar también su preparación,
Sí.
cómo ha sido estar tan lejos de esos primeros inicios.
Sí, no, la preparación más que nada es el del físicamente es difícil, ¿no? Porque estamos viniendo de tiempo libre con nuestras familias y descanso, entonces empezó todo duro, ¿no? Pero es necesario para que nosotros estemos al mismo nivel que los que vienen de Europa. Entonces, tenemos otra semana para trabajar en eso, pero hasta ahora realmente todo va muy bien. Lo sentimos muy con confianza y también en el tema de mis nuevos compañeros de equipo, con Matt y Dewan, no, todo muy bien. Estoy muy ansioso para llegar a Boston, para empezar mi carrera ahí en ese club.